Hey there, Brittany Flammer here. Welcome to my channel where I share videos all about budgeting and money saving tips for you and your family. I like to share our budget. I think a lot of people find it helpful to see how someone else budgets. And so I share our budget at the beginning of the month. And then at the end of the month, I come and do a budget report showing you our recap of the month, how we actually spent our money as opposed to how we budgeted our money. So today I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my spreadsheet right here. And I do sell this spreadsheet. If you're interested, you can totally do it on your own. You don't have to do this. You can use a budgeting app. You use whatever works for you. But if you are interested in this spreadsheet, there is a link in the description box, but also afterwards, I'll include a link in the comments. And if you use the code YouTube, you get 15% off. And in fact, I think it's 15% off of everything in my shop, not just my budget template. But this is just what I like to use. Spreadsheet works for me. You can use whatever works for you. This is live. I like doing it live. So if people have questions, I can answer them. I'm just going to go ahead and I will periodically check the comments to see if there are any questions. So starting with our income, we budgeted my husband's salary. He normally makes just under $5,000, but he made almost $5,500 this month. We weren't expecting that. He has some extra training and development stuff that he has had to do, and he knew he would be getting paid at some point for it, and it came through this month. So that's always a great problem to have, more income than expected. And then my business, I never budget anything. We try to live solely off of my husband's income. And then anything I make is like extra icing on the cake, and we put it towards our mortgage to pay it off early, which I know is a little bit controversial right now with our mortgage rates. Our mortgage rate is really low and savings rates are higher than our mortgage rate. So I'll explain what we have decided to do when I get down to that in the template. Also a cash deposit. This wasn't really technically income, but last month I pulled out $400 in cash for a vacation. For a trip we were supposed to be taking to Ecuador. They use US dollars there. We ended up not going on the trip. We postponed it. So I deposited that cash back into our account. So there's 400 there. And then interest. We have a lot of money in online savings accounts. I do love online savings accounts. And right now they're getting between 4 and 5% interest. So it's a great way if you have cash, great place to store some cash. Now, normally we would not keep this much on hand, but we have our emergency fund in an online savings account. We also have a bunch of sinking funds and online savings accounts, as well as we are adding a garage to our house this summer. We've just started working on it. So we have a huge chunk of change for that. So normally we would not earn this much in interest. I don't plan for any interest. Anything we do earn, we just add back into our accounts. But that's an extra $212. That's awesome. And so overall total income was $7,800, which is almost $3,000 more than expected, which is great. We pay tithing off of our gross income. So since we made a lot more than planned, we paid a lot more for tithing, which I'm happy to do, because if I'm paying more for tithing, that means we've got more money coming in. Our mortgage is fixed, regular rate $1,332. Our electricity was only $11.41. It's summertime. We get lots of sun. We have solar panels. Our natural gas was $86. We are on like a levelized average payment plan. Once a year, they will readjust it. And so we pay the same every month till they readjust it. And then we pay the same every month. I just got our bill for the next month and it's almost doubled. But so June was the last month at $86. Our water bill includes our garbage, sewage from the city was $102.24. Our life insurance, this is my term life insurance. It's, I think, a 20-year policy on me for $250,000. It's $11.10 a month. Our car insurance just recently went up. The rates just increased a little bit. So we're at $108.84, and that's, we don't get a discount for paying. Some people pay every 6 months. We can pay every month, and it doesn't charge us more. So I prefer to pay every month. It fluctuates by a few dollars every month, but it's simpler for my budget, so I like to do it monthly. Our phone bill was really high this month because normally it's just my husband and I. We are on a family member's family plan. It's a sister. She has a great plan through her employer with a huge discount. So she had her plan already. She just added my husband and I to her plan. So we just pay the $15 per line that she charged, that it cost her to add us. And then we were thinking about doing that for our daughter, but there are enough phone lines on her plan now that it's now $35 for an extra line. So we decided not to add her to that. We debated about what kind of phone to get her for a long time. We ended up getting her the cheapest refurbished iPhone we could find, but we put her on a Mint Mobile plan. We're just testing it out. So we paid up front for the first 3 months. So it's $15 a month with taxes and everything. It ended up being $50 for the 3 months. And after the 3 months, we'll reevaluate and see if we want to stick with that or if we want to do something else. So that's why it's so much higher this month, because we paid for her phone for 3 months. Internet's fixed at $62. Actually, for those of you, I know there are a couple people here live, or if you're watching this afterwards, I'm really intrigued. What do you do for your kids for cell phones? I did a lot of research. I created a spreadsheet, and so far we've been happy with Mint Mobile, but I'm wondering what other people do. I don't know. We just started testing it out. So I'd like to know what other people do. Our gas, this is gas for our cars, $2.31. We were under by $18, which is always good. Gas right here it's expensive. We live in northern Utah. I'm trying to think. Last time I filled up, $2.80 or $3.89 a gallon, I think. Piano, we're not doing this summer, but I'm leaving it in our budget. Same with preschool, so I don't forget to add it in the fall. So total fixed expenses, we went over by like $300, but that's because we paid so much more in tithing. So I feel all right about that. Now moving on to the variable expenses, this is what I have a lot more control over. So I have a lot of people, I'm actually going to stop the screen share for a sec. I have a lot of people that ask me how I track our expenses, and I am going to explain real quick how I do it. So our fixed bills are fixed. They are automatically paid. I don't really, just at the end of the month, I log into our checking account or credit card, whatever, and double check all the bills and make sure they went through. Make sure they were the price they're supposed to be. But for our variable expenses, those are the things I have control over. So I separate our fixed expenses from our variable expenses. Variable expenses for us, it's groceries, consumable type stuff, makeup, eating out, kids stuff, babysitting, stuff like that. I lump it all together and then I divide it by the week. So for example, our June budget, we had $820 budgeted for all of our variable expenses. And there were 4 weeks in June. So that means we had $205 each week. So I just take an envelope and see, I write 205. And then every time I buy something, swipe my card, buy it online, go in the store, do pickup, I subtract it. And at the end of the week, I stop. So the first week I had $12 left over. Then I move to the second week and I start with $205 and I subtract. This has worked really, really well for me for years. I have loved this. However, I've started having issues with it this summer. My husband's a teacher, so he's at home. So by default, I do like 95% of our shopping. He buys stuff occasionally. And now that he's home, he is doing a lot more of the transactions, like running to the store, picking up something on his way home. So we have a lot more transactions. He has a lot more transactions. And we are also working on building a garage, like I said. So we've started, and he does most of those transactions. So I've had so many transactions coming in, and he's doing so many that this hasn't been working. So I am changing how I'm going to do this, at least for the summer. I am not going to do it by the week. I am going to itemize. And then each week, at the end of the week, I'm going to update our transactions. And if you're interested, I will share on my channel here a weekly check-in because we have so many transactions going through. Also, I have been using budgeting apps to help clients and for video tutorials to be able to share here on my channel. And I've just been trying a lot of different things. So I am going to try updating and doing weekly check-ins and see how that goes. Okay, now, sorry for that interruption. Back to the budget. For our variable expenses, I only budgeted $680 for groceries, but then I spent $854. So the way I did it on the calendar, I was thinking June only had 4 weeks. but the way it fell, I really had 5 weeks. So I overspent on groceries by $175. Eating out, we went over $8. Miscellaneous, we were under. Kids' money went over a little bit. My personal money, I went over. I went over. But then babysitting, we didn't pay for any babysitting. Our daughters babysat a time or two for us. We have not been very good about doing date nights. We've been working on house projects. So occasionally running to the hardware store is our date night. So we went over budget by 182, but I wasn't too stressed about it because we had more income than normal this month. We do not have any debt, so I will skip ahead to our savings or our sinking funds. Our emergency fund, we had $49.24 put in there. That was just the interest earned on the account. So our balance is $15,645. My husband's personal money, he has his own online checking account with his own debit card. $50 automatically gets put on there. He spent $21, so he's down to $18.74 in that account. Life insurance, we automatically have $69 transferred in. This little asterisk means it's an automatic transfer, so I don't do anything. So $69 is put in. We haven't paid it yet, so we're up to $552 in that account. Our house maintenance, budgeted $100. I didn't put anything in because this used to be an automatic payment, but if you'll notice, it doesn't have an asterisk. The last few months, I've adjusted it, and so I just forgot to put the money in. So I didn't transfer anything in, and then we did spend just about $500. A big house has lots of maintenance, just little stuff adds up so fast. We spent almost $500, so we've only got $344 in our account, so I need to start being a little more careful. Vacation, I budgeted $250, but put in $400. So this also was one that used to be automatic, but we're trying to fund our South Africa trip, as well as we now have to buy new tickets for our family to go to Ecuador next year. So we're trying to put as much into our vacation as possible. So I took it off automatic payment because each month it's varying a little bit. We did spend $2,600. So we had a family vacation, or not family vacation, a family reunion with my husband's family. So we just got an Airbnb, divide the cost of the Airbnb, and we all are in charge of a meal or activity or something like that. And we just pay for that out of our own pocket. So we spent a little over $300 on that. And then about $2,300 on tickets for my husband and I to go to South Africa over Thanksgiving. We opened up a Chase Sapphire Preferred credit card last year to test out, and we got a huge bonus from them. So we put that towards our trip. So we ended up paying like $2,300 for our tickets, and that's over Thanksgiving, which is a pretty good price. So we only have $204 left in that. House updates, I didn't budget anything, didn't put anything in. We spent almost $1,900. So I said we've started the garage, we've started renting jackhammers, saw cutters, and all that kind of fun stuff. And we've been working hard, and it's really not very much fun, but it saves us a lot of money. So we're down to $41,000 in that account. So this is the account that's an online savings account that is earning us a lot of interest because it's set aside for our garage. Our extra mortgage payment, anything. So I didn't budget anything, but anything I make off of my business, I put towards the extra mortgage, goes towards a mortgage. So that's $1,477. However, I did not spend any of this money. So the interest rate on our mortgage is like 2%, and we're earning over 4%. I have money in a SoFi account, in a vault in SoFi. We're earning 4.3% on it. And so we decided to each month just put the money I earn for my business into a SoFi vault where it earns a 4.3%. And then the intent is eventually at some point we will apply it towards our mortgage. At one point we were investing instead of paying it off, but because we can earn so much more in investments than the 2% we're paying on a mortgage. But I don't sleep well. I don't like owing any money. So I prefer to pay it off. My husband and I discussed, we agreed we're okay paying it off. So we are just putting an online savings account to earn some interest, and then we'll put it towards our mortgage. Maybe once a year, I don't know, every once in a while. So we have $1,783 in that online savings account. Clothing, It's an automatic transfer, budgeted $75, put $75 in, spent $12, and we have $63 left. And gifts, this is an automatic transfer. I budgeted $25, had $25 put in. Then I realized that was not going to be enough, so I went and put an extra $75 in. So we put $100 in. We spent $91. I don't think for gifts, I was just thinking teachers' gifts at the end of the school year, and occasionally we get invited to like a wedding or something where we need to pay a gift. If our kids go to birthday parties, they pay for the gifts themselves. But now that we have moved back to Utah, we live close to family. So things like Mother's Day and things like that, where we used to like send something sentimental or have our kids make cards or do something like that, we don't do that anymore. So we actually buy gifts. So I need to increase our gift budget. So we have $9 left in there. Medical, this is a newer fund that we've added because we're having a lot of medical expenses. I budgeted $200, put $200 in. We did spend $458. We did a financial MRI. We met with a financial planner and we paid him to sit down. He took all of our accounts in, kind of gave us an overview of where our investments are, how we can adjust, what they would do differently. So I pulled that out of our medical budget because it was an MRI. And I had a cavity. My husband and I our insurance doesn't cover fluoride for our teeth. So we paid for fluoride, things like that. So we have $341. We just found out our oldest daughter needs braces, and that's going to be $4,800. Let me know how much braces cost where you live, because that seems like a lot of money to me. Also, I will be finishing up my implant. They'll be adding a crown on my tooth soon. So we're trying to cover some of those expenses that we don't have enough in our flex spending or in our health savings account. So we're down to $341. Car expenses budgeted $75. $75 was automatically put into our account. We did spend $199. My husband's truck, he finally took it in. The 4-wheel drive has never worked on it. And he thought it was going to be this big, huge expense. So he's been prolonging the inevitable, not wanting to take it in. He finally took it in for something else. They looked at the 4-wheel drive while it was there. It was like something just wasn't quite attached all the way. It was something really small. So it was just over $100, and the 4-wheel drive now works like 3 years later. We should have done it a long time ago. So we're down to $560 in that account. We've had oil changes recently. We've already registered all of our cars, all of that stuff. So now we're just trying to get enough in our account to pay for snow tires this fall. We already looked, it'll be $800 to $900. So we should have enough in there by the time we need them. Christmas, budgeted $0 because it was fully funded, put $0 in, but we spent our entire Christmas budget. I have never been a pay to go to the gym type person because we've never been able to afford it in our budget. It's always been low priority. Like to exercise, but I like to run, and I can run for free outside, do exercise videos. My husband bikes. We like to hike, things like that. So we've always gotten our exercise for free. But our youngest is still at home. He's not in school yet. And there's only one gym where we live in the area. It's like the nice, expensive gym. It's the only place with childcare. But it's expensive. So we paid about $1,500. We did a lot of research. I created a spreadsheet for this too. We did some research. We talked about it for a few months. We decided we were going to do it because they have swimming pools, so we could use the swimming pools over the summer. So we finally went and did it. It was $1,500. Let me know in the comments down below if you go to a gym. I know there are cheap 24-hour fitness. There's lots of options. I just wanted one with childcare, and that's the only one where we live here. And so we decided to do it. We paid $1,500. We paid up front for the full year, so we got a little bit of a discount. And that means we can freeze it at some point. So if we freeze it for a couple months, then I can use the pool next summer with the kids. Anyway, we decided to do it. We did it. And then the week after that, we found out my daughter needed braces. And then we found out we had another major. And we've now registered some of our kids for some competitive sports, and they're costing a lot more money than I had planned on spending. So I kind of wish we wouldn't have done it, but we've already paid for it. We've got the membership. We're going to use it and enjoy it while we've got it. I would love to know in the comments down below if you have paid for membership. If you don't, we never have before, but we're going to use it and we're going to enjoy it. That's our plan. Okay. that was a little soapbox. Sorry. I had to explain myself. So anyway, the money had to come out of somewhere. So we pulled the $1,000 out of our Christmas fund. And then the rest of it, the 500, it was $1,500. So 1,000 came out of Christmas fund, 500 pulled out of our kids extracurricular fund. And we budgeted 150 for that. We put 850 in that account. All of the cash that I deposited, instead of putting it back into our vacation fund, we put it towards our kids extracurricular because we knew we were going to do the gym membership. So we ended up spending 763 out of that account. 500 of that was the gym membership. We also enrolled my son in, it's like a step above rec, but not competitive soccer. And it's a little bit more expensive than rec soccer. So we enrolled him in that. But now they needed someone on their competitive state team. So now he's doing that. So we have a ton of expenses for that. And my daughter's volleyball expenses are significantly increasing. Jerseys alone are going to be like $300. It's insane. So I'm rethinking. Anyway, we have used a lot of money for our kids' extracurricular. So we're going to need to amp up that fund because we are down to $385 now. My Roth IRA, $300. We put 5% of our income in a Roth IRA in my name. We budgeted 300, put 300 in, and I don't track that because it's invested. So I track it in my net worth, which I'll be sharing next week if you're interested in. So our total money out was $7,616. So I have $184 left here. So I am going to go and add that into one of these funds. I either should add it to kids extracurricular, or actually I'm going to add it to medical. Because we have a bunch of dental bills coming up. So I had 200 in there. We'll do 384. And so now I will go transfer that 184 right now as soon as I get off of the video to make it a zero-based budget. I don't mind having a few dollars roll over, but 184 is kind of a lot. So I'm going to put it into something where we need it. If you have any questions, this is just how I budget. This is what's worked for me. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I read all of the comments. I respond. I try to respond as soon as possible. Like I mentioned, I will be updating. I've already posted our July budget, but since we're having so many transactions, I'm going to update it. I'm thinking weekly or every other week. I'll do a quick video check-in, show you how I'm doing that. And I'm going to add some features to my budget template with that check-in. So you can look at it, tell me if you like it or not, and then I can implement those in my Etsy shop, in my template on my Etsy shop. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will add that video all about my favorite online savings accounts in the description box down below, and I'll have it pinned right up here. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Now's the awkward, because it's not over yet.